All right, so it's been a while since I posted about AMC and APE, and that's really just because there really wasn't anything to talk about. I mean, there's tons of videos coming out all the time, and it's all speculative, and I think it's really just for entertainment purposes. And a lot of times you just see people rambling on and on about nothing, and or trying to justify their own investment or whatever, not really anything concrete. I just don't do that. That's not my style. I wait for kind of information that is actually relevant and that might actually mean something. And so I'm coming out now and talking about an update because of this filing with the SEC that AMC did that allows them to dump, let's say, on the market 425 million shares of APE, or it might be 450 million. I can't remember, but I think it's 425, but it could be 450. Either way, not material. And effectively, it allows them to issue these units and sell them and raise capital from APE. That was not something that was not anticipated. I think a lot of people have seen that coming. I think Adam Aaron, the CFO and stuff, were letting us know that that was a probability. But now that they're ready to do it, it doesn't mean they have to. It could be a fake out for all we know. You can definitely see that there's a chess match going on between Adam Aaron, AMC, and people on the other side of these naked shorts. So let's just call it. Let's call it you have the AMC side, and then you have the institute. You have the naked short side. Okay, and they're really playing chess here. And I do believe that Adam Aaron is acting in the best interest of shareholders. I think for a couple of reasons I believe that. Number one, he has a lot at stake himself. I also think he is an honest man for the most part. Nobody's perfect, but I think his history shows that he is a man of integrity and competence. I'm sure we can nitpick at the guy, find little things here and there, and there might be some things that people don't understand. But for all intents and purposes, all of his actions so far, and especially that AMC was about to file bankruptcy, and he got them out of it. All of the things he's done so far has done nothing but help the shareholders. Okay, and so I'm finding it more and more likely as time passes that he's not acting in the best interest of the shareholders. You can do a lot of technical analysis on this stock. You can watch hedgies, you can watch videos, you can watch a lot of stuff about AMC and look at other things. But I want to really focus in on what are actual factual things that are happening that actually mean something, that are not emotional. Okay, and this item where AMC is appearing to be ready to use up to 425 million shares to dump on the market to sell APE shares is factual and doesn't have any emotion involved. It is potentially dilutive to APE, but I think that when you say it's dilutive, it is mathematically and it is technically. But again, I don't think they're doing this to dilute the stock and hurt the shareholders. Right? That would be foolish. And remember too that they can be sued. Right? There are shareholder lawsuits. There are class action suits that could go against Adam Aaron and other board members potentially for not acting in the best interest of shareholders. So certainly, if they're doing anything corrupt, he's looking at, number one, losing a ton of money, and number two, going to jail. And I just don't see any signs of that going on. Okay, I don't see any signs that would make me think that's the way he's behaving. In fact, everything he's doing is the opposite of that. So I believe more and more that he is acting in the best interest of shareholders. And in fact, because of that, because of this new registration with the SEC, I actually ended up buying more shares because of it. So the more confident I get, the more I go into it. But if I'm looking at this from, I try to look at this from the perspective of AMC's management and not from the perspective of the hedgies. I think that the people on the other side of these naked shorts, for lack of a better term, they're screwed. Okay, now, there are people a lot of times that do things and they get in bad situations and they get out of it and it sucks and justice is not done. So I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, but let's take all that stuff aside. Let's take all the emotion aside. Let's take all of the bad actors aside. Let's just take all that out of it, okay? And just look at this like we're AI, like we have no emotions and no feeling. What we do know is that they have filed this registration and they're getting ready to put APE on the market. Now, think about why they would do that. If you remember back to the first video I had done, I talked about when they're creating APE, right? And they're doing that as a stock dividend, right? And that it's a first play of a strategy. It's the first chess move in a game of chess, right? So they're not making this up as they go along, okay? Now I'm starting to see how it was more intentional, okay, and how these moves are being made. Now, what are they going to accomplish? What is the CFO going to accomplish? What is Adam Aaron going to accomplish with these AMC shares? And then look at what are the different obstacles they're facing, right? So if they're going to be dumping these APE shares in the market, strategically, what can it accomplish? And then let's look at kind of where it came from, okay, and where, you know, what's been accomplished so far. So we issued APE, and what did accomplish so far is an exposure, okay? We've seen a lot of things exposed, okay? I think now we know that there are a lot of naked shorts out there. We still don't really know the exact numbers because we don't know what's in all the dark pools, but it seems to be, what's that number? A lot. That's the number I'm going to use. A lot. Okay? Let's just say a lot. A lot meaning that if you're on the other side of this transaction, you could get life-changing money. We know that. Another thing that's going on is that APE and AMC fundamentally should be the same price. Okay? This, if you go back to any textbook and if you have a stock dividend, it's not dilutive, okay? It doesn't dilute the shareholders because the shareholders they're going to have the same amount of ownership in the company, and they're using these two different shares. They should be the same price. They are theoretically worth the same amount. They have the same exact claim on the assets and let's call it profits of the company. There should be no difference in the price of these things, but there is a huge difference in the price of these things. So that definitely tells us that something's up. That definitely tells us that something's being manipulated, okay? So then if that was going to happen, if you add those two together and it's such a low price and it's brought the stock down, why would they do this? Why would Adam Aaron, if he's acting in our best interest and the management of AMC, why would they create this APE stock? And why would they now dump a bunch of APE shares in the market and dilute us, right? If you think of it that way, it doesn't sound great. But look at it a different way, all right? What is causing a lot of the problems with this price manipulation, right? Fundamentally, the price of AMC and APE, now that I look at it, it's a facade. I mean, there's nothing real about it, okay? I mean, if you just go back to basics, if you pull out their balance sheet, you pull out their P&L, and you look at their financials, I'm a CPA by trade. I'm also, CFO is my big background. I also have various licenses from FINRA 65 and 7 and whatnot, and so I've studied a lot of different things, a lot of different areas in finance. And, to look at what they're doing here and why they're doing it, it's obvious that when you dump shares in the market like this, it will be dilutive, just by definition, right? But what are some other strategic reasons they would be doing this? Okay? What are some of the things that are going on? What's keeping the price down? Well, I think what's keeping the price down is algorithms, okay? AMC and APE is being manipulated by AI. That's my opinion. I think there's a lot of evidence to show that's true. If you don't agree with that, I'd love to see your comments or more information on that. It's being manipulated by algorithms. Well, algorithms have strength in that they are not emotional. Okay, they can set algorithms with rules, and they can sort of rig the system in their favor. It's like counting cards at a casino, right? If you take the emotion out of it and you just follow the rules, follow the mathematics of it, you're going to end up a winner. Over the long-term scheme, okay, over the long term of this whole play. But there's a weakness to that, okay? The weakness is that they aren't emotional. The weakness is that they don't have street smarts. They don't have common sense, right? And something that is mechanical like that can be manipulated, right? In other words, every program can be broken, okay? God, there's a great movie that shows this where I can't remember, something the code or something, but it's with the guy that does Doctor Strange, Benedict something. Anyway, he's in this movie, and they're trying to break the code of the from Berlin is sending coded messages to the U-boats in World War II, right? And every day they change the coding system. And so you can't just figure out the coding system and then use it going forward, right? Every day they change the system that they use to decode the messages. So as soon as you find out what the message is, it's already stale, right? And that's a great system, right? And it was a great system, right? But it can be broken, and if you can break it and you can figure out what's going on, you can manipulate it to your advantage. Okay, so look at it this way. How could we use these algorithms against you? Okay, when you take the facts in place and you look at what someone else is doing, and you don't try to necessarily change all the variables, you go with the variables. Okay, you go with reality and say, look, here's the reality. The reality is that there's not going to be justice served here, okay, anytime soon necessarily, right? This is a mess, and this is not going to get sorted out anytime. It could take years to sort this whole thing out, right? So we just have to get over the fact that these algorithms are there. We have to get over the fact that these algorithms are going to manipulate the price. We have to get over the fact that there's dark pools. We have to get over the fact that they're going to be manipulating stock price. So what? How do we beat them anyway, right? Let's figure out what the algorithms are. Okay. Now, when you watch the trading going on APE, you can reverse engineer these algorithms. Okay. And so APE, they're trying to maintain AMC and keep it stable. Okay. So they're using APE as a tool. Again, we've talked about this in previous videos. They're using APE as a tool. Okay. And I believe they're going to be able to figure out what these algorithms are from APE. Okay, it could be using very similar algorithms in AMC. So let's just say best case scenario, they figured out the algorithms. Now when you know what the algorithm is, now when you start dumping shares on the market, you can break the thing, okay? You can make it freak out, okay? All of a sudden, and they don't know how many are going to be dumping on the market, right? You have 425, forgive me if it's 450, 425 million shares that you can dump on the market. Maybe you just dump 10. Maybe you dump 425 all at one time. Maybe you dump 100. Maybe you dump 150. They don't know when and how many you're going to be putting on the market. Okay? Maybe they don't know the algorithms completely, right? But they will once they start testing it with this kind of stuff, right? And at some point, this algorithm is going to be broken, and the price is going to run up like you've never believed, like you've never seen. Okay? I don't think it matters what retail investors do. What they're probably counting on is that retail investors will behave unpredictably. They will not be able to predict how retail investors act. Well, build your strategy around that. Don't build your strategy around what you think they're going to do. Build your strategy around not knowing what retail investors are going to do. The retail investors' behavior, I believe, the unpredictability of the retail investor's behavior is going to create havoc for these algorithms. So the unpredictability of the retail investor combined with the uncertainty of how many shares are going to be put on the market and when is going to allow them to manipulate these algorithms. And I think you're going to see, I think they call it a MOAS, mother of all short squeezes. If I was the CFO of AMC, that's what I would be doing, right? Because what's standing in my way? What is keeping me from taking care of my shareholders? These stupid algorithms and these people that are engaging in criminal behavior. I can't get rid of these criminal behavior. I can't get rid of these criminals. And I'm not going to let them become an excuse for my shareholders not doing well. And I can't get rid of these algorithms. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make the fact that they're engaging in criminal behavior irrelevant. And I'm going to use these algorithms to achieve what I want them to achieve. I just got to figure out what they are, right? And as soon as you figure out how to use these things, then you can use them to your advantage. Okay? Nothing illegal about that. You're operating in the shareholder's best interest. So, I'm going to use this algorithm. I'm going to use the unpredictability of the retail investor, which the algorithms, that's what will make them break partially. Okay? Is that they are predicting behavior, and they're predicting sales volume, sales price, all this kind of stuff, number of shares, et cetera, et cetera. If it doesn't know how many shares are outstanding, if it doesn't know how retail investors are going to behave, all the shareholders and stuff like that, I do believe this. I do think that they can get this thing to break, and what will happen is the price will run way up, and the algorithms will continue buying the stock as it's going up, right? Which is awesome, because we can sell and ride it up with it. And what's going to happen when all this occurs? Well, two things. One, I think you can, well, a few more than two things. Let's say three things. One, you can ride the wave up, okay? Because the algorithm itself is going to create the MOAS. He's using their tool against them, okay? Two is that it is going to raise an inordinate amount of capital that they're going to use to pay off debt, okay? Fundamentally, if the company's balance sheet gets stronger and the debt gets paid off, the equity holders of the business, the shareholders, the people like you and I, our stock becomes more valuable, exponentially more valuable. That's just fundamentals. Okay? That's like saying, if I go out and run 10 miles tomorrow and I don't eat anything, I'm going to lose some weight. It's fundamental. Okay? Just because I wear a fat suit the next day to make it look like I didn't lose any weight doesn't mean I didn't lose any weight. Okay? It's fundamental, right? AMC stock will start to be affected by the APE squeeze, and they're going to create chaos, right? So think about that. This is completely counterintuitive. Adam Aaron, the CEO, and the management of AMC are going to intentionally create chaos. And the chaos is going to break the algorithm. And the thing is going to be completely out of control. And they won't know what to do. They won't be able to rewrite algorithms in time. In that World War II example I gave, once they figured out how to use that decoding tool to their advantage, they kept quiet about it, and then they used it against them, right? In other words, what started happening is that Germany started telling its enemies its plans every day, right? It was using something that it thought was good, and it was their advantage, and it was completely not emotional, reliable, mathematical, whatever. Well, the Allies figured out how to use it against them. And we may not have won the war without it, or may not have conquered Germany without it. Because then we knew exactly what they were doing, and the U-boats were a huge problem for the Allies. U-boats were a huge problem for the Allies. But once we learned how to use their tools against them, and made them our tools, we won the war. And I think that's what's going on right now. Yeah, I'm speculating a little bit. Yeah. But I'm thinking like a CFO. If I was a CFO, I accept these variables as being fixed if I can't change them. And I figure out a way to use them against my opponent. I think they're going to use these algorithms to create the squeeze. I think they're going to use APE to break the system. And once the system's broken, they're going to take that cash and pay off debt. And then I think at the end of the day, what you're going to be left with is a bunch of AMC shareholders that have made a bunch of money already, and their stock fundamentally continues to rise in value. Eventually it'll slow down, but their stock will rise in value over a period of time, just like a normal shareholder. You'll have all these naked shorts gone, you'll have all your debt gone, and your shares will be trading in a natural way, and certainly not in a way that would be unnatural. That's kind of how I think this is going to play out, and that's what I would do if I was their CFO. Again, there's a lot of facts I'm not aware of, obviously, But I do know that algorithms are the problem. I know naked shorts are a problem. And I know if I was a CFO, I'd be trying to break their own system and use it against them to achieve my own goals. So that's what I think is going on right now. And I think the fact that they are going to, or that they intend to, or that they have the ability to issue this 425 million APE shares, to me, knowing what I know, is evidence that supports my case. Because that's what I would do if I was trying to achieve what I'm talking about. I would have these APE shares ready to go, and I would not tell anybody when or how many I'm going to throw on the market. And I would ask my CEO to keep up relations with our retail investors, to make them confident, make them feel good about everything, just like they should. Keep up your relationship with our retail investors. Okay, keep them informed, keep talking to them, go to town halls if you have to, etc., etc. And I'm going to take care of the stock thing. And I'm going to get these algorithms. I'm going to break these algorithms so they stop keeping the price down artificially. They're going to have to turn them off. They won't be able to use them anymore. And then the stock will behave naturally. Okay, and we will be free of the bondage of these algorithms and these naked shorts. Okay, and we'll take care of all of our shareholders, get everybody paid, and also you, Adam Aaron, my boss, CEO, because I'm the CFO, you're going to get paid a lot too. Okay, that's what I'd be doing. So, a little different perspective than maybe you're used to seeing on there. I'm not doing technical analysis. I'm just looking at strategy, and I'm looking at what a CFO would be doing in all of this. And if I was a CFO, if I wasn't operating in the best interest of the shareholders, I'd be looking at prison time. So there's a lot of assumptions that I'm making here, but I don't think they're far-fetched assumptions. I think they're realistic and reasonable assumptions. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. And as soon as there's more information that comes out or something else relevant, I will do an update video. Thanks.